Alright guys, today we're going to be making burgers. So this is roughly around 300 grams of beef. And then we're going to be adding some garlic powder, some chili, Italian seasoning, and some onion powder. Now you just want to add all your spices in, and then you just want to give it a mix. Then you can just add an egg and then give it a mix. Next, you want to just add some breadcrumbs. I measured out about a full cup, and then I just added about 1/4 of a cup into it. This is because you don't want it to be too wet or too dry. If you put it in, then you can't always take it out at the end. Once you have the meat sorted out, then you just want to grab little chunks of it and roll it in your hand into a ball and then squish it down. I made about 4 of these. Now we're going to make our fries. What you want to do is you just want to cut it down the length of the potato. Depending on the thickness, you should be able to get 4 or 5 chips per potato. Now that we have our fries cut, what you want to do is you want to get some olive oil. You want to put some olive oil in with the fries. And then you want to put some chili powder and some oregano with it. And then you just want to give it a good mix. And then you just want to cut slices with widths about 1/2 centimeter in width per slice. Even for 4 burgers, 1 onion is quite enough. But if you're doing less burgers, then I'd suggest maybe only like 1/4 of an onion or even half. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to cook the patties. So before you put them in the pan, what you want to do is you just want to squish them out onto your hand and then put them in the pan. And as you can see, I'm using quite a big pan, so you can fit probably 3 or 4 of the patties in there. While the meat patties are cooking, you can just put the air fryer on for 190 degrees for 10 minutes, and you just put the potato slices in there. And then you just want to give it a toss, and then you put it back in. Now we're going to head back to the patties, and we're just going to give them a good flip. Now that you've flipped the patties, you can just go ahead and add the onion slices. You can just probably fit all of them in, and then eventually they'll shrink. Once the onions are a little golden, then you can just go ahead and break them apart, and maybe if you want to give them a flip. It just depends on how crispy you want them. Now that the onions are golden and crispy, you can just go ahead and add some bacon into the pan. Eventually, as more of the onion finishes cooking, then you can just add more bacon. We're looking for about 1 slice of bacon per burger. While you've been focusing on the bacon, onions, and the patties, you can go back and check the chips because most likely they would have finished cooking. And if you want to cook them more, that's fine, but it just depends on how crispy you prefer them. Just a quick FYI, after I checked the chips, I put them back in for an extra 10 minutes. Now let's shift our focus back to the bacon and the onions. As you can see, in my preference, the bacon is cooked, but it generally depends on how crispy you prefer it to be. Once you have your preferred crispiness for the first side, then you can just go ahead and give it a flip and let the other side cook. Also, if you feel like the onion is cooked, then you can just go ahead and take that out and put it on a separate plate. Make sure to cover it with foil though, because that way it'll keep the onion heated. Now I've gone back and checked my chips, so after they're finished cooking, then you can just go and put them in a bowl. Once you put them in the bowl, make sure you put some tin foil over it. Again, this is because it helps it keep the heat. Once you have everything finished, you can just go ahead and plate it. It depends on what toppings you want, but I also added cheese, lettuce, and tomato. I also added some sauces. And here you go, this is the final presentation. Go ahead and rate it in the comments out of 10. Thank you so much guys for watching. I hope you all learned something new.